Blood on white marble. 3 bodies. Professional hits. The penthouse in Singapore is silent now. But 12 hours ago, it wasn't. A black woman stands frozen in a hotel bathroom, hand over her son's mouth, both trembling. Gunshots echo through walls. A Korean man kicks open a door across the city, alone, armed, hunting. Where is my son? The question no one will answer, because the people who took him aren't asking for ransom. They're asking for blood. 23 years ago, his father made a promise Min-jun knew nothing about, until now. And the price? Everything he has left to lose. The private jet touched down in Singapore at 4:47 a.m. Min-jun hadn't slept, hadn't eaten, hadn't stopped moving since that text arrived. Tae-sung was 2 steps behind him as they cleared customs. Expedited, no questions asked. Money opened every door, even the ones that should stay closed. The photo was taken at Changi Airport, Terminal 3, Tae-sung reported, scrolling through his tablet. Timestamp puts them there 43 minutes after landing, but airport security has no record of them leaving through any exit. They had help. Yes, sir. Which means someone knew they were coming. Min-jun's jaw tightened. How many people knew about the extraction? Only our inner circle. 4 men, all vetted. Vet them again. A black SUV waited outside. Min-jun climbed in, immediately pulling up the encrypted message again. Your father's debt. His father had been dead for 3 years, buried with full honors. The organization mourned. Rivals celebrated. But debts? His father had been meticulous. Every account balanced. Every deal closed. Or so Min-jun thought. Pull everything, he ordered. My father's financials. Every transaction from 20 years ago to the day he died. I want names, dates, amounts. Everything. Sir, I don't care how long it takes. Start now. The SUV pulled into a private estate in Sentosa Cove. Min-jun had purchased it 2 years ago through shell companies. No paper trail, no public record. Ji-hai didn't know about it. No one did. Except apparently, someone. Inside, the house was dark, silent. Too silent. Min-jun drew his weapon. Tae-sung did the same. They moved through the rooms methodically. Living room clear, kitchen clear, bedrooms empty. Every room was empty. No sign of forced entry. No blood. No struggle. Just gone. On the kitchen counter, a phone. Not his. Not Ji-hai's. It buzzed. New message. Looking for something? Below it, a video file. Min-jun's hand shook as he pressed play. The video showed Ji-hai sitting in a chair, hands tied, mouth gagged, eyes defiant but terrified. Behind her, Min-ho, crying, scared, a man's hand on his shoulder. The camera panned to show a face Min-jun recognized. No, it can't be. Hello, Min-jun, the man said. His Korean was perfect, but his accent was Chinese. Or should I call you nephew? The world tilted. Kwon Jae-sung, his father's half-brother. The one who disappeared 30 years ago after a failed coup attempt within the organization. The one everyone assumed was dead. Surprised? Jae-sung smiled. Your father told you I died in Shanghai. Drug deal gone wrong. Very tragic. He circled Ji-hee's chair slowly. But your father was always a good liar. It's how he stole everything from me. His hand touched Ji-hee's shoulder. She flinched. My position. My territory. My life. So I made him a deal. I'd disappear. Fake my death. And in return, he'd give me 30% of everything the organization earned. Forever. Jae-sung leaned closer to the camera. For 23 years he paid. Every month. Like clockwork. His smile vanished. Then 3 years ago the payment stopped. Because he died. And you, his precious son, knew nothing about our arrangement. So now the debt falls to you. 23 years at 30% plus interest. He laughed. Do you know how much that is? A number appeared on screen. 847 million USD. Min-jun felt his knees weaken. You have 72 hours to transfer the full amount. If you don't. Jae-sung's hand moved to Min-ho's head. The boy whimpered. Well, blood pays what money won't. The video ended. Min-jun stood frozen, the phone in his hand. 847 million, he had resources, assets, property. But liquidating everything, converting it to untraceable funds, moving it internationally, 72 hours wasn't enough. It wasn't possible. Sir? Taesung's voice was distant. Get our accountants. Every single one. I want to know exactly what we can access immediately. Sir, even if we liquidate everything, do it. Taesung made the call. Minjun walked to the window overlooking the ocean. Dawn was breaking, beautiful and indifferent. His father, the man who taught him honor, loyalty, strength, had been paying extortion for over 2 decades, had hidden a brother, a debt, a lie that now threatened to destroy everything. Why didn't you tell me? But he knew why. Because his father had been ashamed, because admitting weakness wasn't in the CO family vocabulary, and now Minjun's son, innocent, perfect Minho, was paying for that pride. The phone buzzed again. Another message. Don't try to find us. Don't call the police. Don't be stupid like your father. Oh, and Minjun? The woman is quite beautiful. It would be a shame if... Minjun threw the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. Taesung didn't flinch. Sir, our accountants say we can gather approximately 430 million in 72 hours. Maybe 500 million if we push hard. But $847 million. He shook his head. It's not possible. Then we don't pay. Sir, we find them. Minjun turned, his face a mask of cold fury. And we take them back. He'll be expecting that. I don't care what he expects. Minjun grabbed his jacket. Call everyone. Every contact we have in Singapore. Triads. Yakuza. Local syndicates. I want eyes everywhere. Someone knows where he's hiding. That will cost everything I have? Good. It's all worthless if they're dead. By noon, Minjun had burned through every connection in Singapore. The triads knew nothing. The Yakuza hadn't heard of Kwon Jae-sung. Local syndicates were nervous, unwilling to get involved in Korean family business. Dead ends everywhere. There's one more option, Taesung said carefully. What? Chen Wei-ling. Minjun froze. No. Sir, she has the best intelligence network in Southeast Asia. I said no. Chen Wei-ling was dangerous, unpredictable, and the last time Minjun had dealt with her, it ended in bloodshed. She might know where Jae-sung is hiding, Taesung pressed, or at least have contacts who do. Minjun closed his eyes. Ji-hee, Min-ho. Set up a meeting. They met at a private club in Clark Key. Exclusive, expensive, neutral ground. Chen Wei-ling arrived exactly on time, flanked by 2 bodyguards. She was in her 40s, elegant in a white pantsuit, her hair pulled back severely. Seo Minjun, she said in Mandarin, sitting across from him. I heard you were in town. I need information. Everyone needs something. She ordered tea without asking if he wanted any. What makes you think I'll help you? Because I'll pay. Money doesn't interest me. Then what does? She smiled. Favors? Debts? Leverage? She leaned forward. Your father understood this. You, I'm not so sure. My father's dead. Yes. How convenient for you. Minjun's fist clenched under the table. I'm looking for Kwon Jae-sung. Wei-ling's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. That's a name I haven't heard in many years. So you know him. I knew of him. Before he died. He's not dead. Is that so? She sipped her tea. Interesting. He has my son. That got her attention. I didn't know you had a son. I just found out myself. Wei-ling studied him for a long moment. Your father paid Jae-sung for years. Did you know that? Minjun said nothing. Of course you didn't. Your father was very good at keeping secrets. She set down her cup. But I knew. Because 5 years ago Jae-sung approached me. Wanted to form an alliance. Said he had leverage over the SEO organization. What did you tell him? I told him I wasn't interested in ghosts. She smiled. Apparently, I was wrong. Do you know where he is? Maybe. Wei-ling. I want something in return. Name it. Access to your Busan ports. 20% of container traffic. No questions asked. Minjun's jaw tightened. She was asking for a smuggling route, which meant drugs, weapons, or worse. 10%. 15. Deal. Wei-ling smiled. Your father would have negotiated harder. My father didn't have a son being held hostage. True. She pulled out her phone, sent a text. Jae-sung has a compound in Johor Bahru, just across the border in Malaysia. Very private, very secure. How do you know? Because I sold it to him 3 years ago. She stood. But Minjun, he'll know you're coming. The place is a fortress, and he's had decades to prepare. I don't care. I know. That's what makes this interesting. She nodded to her guards. Good luck. You'll need it. After she left, Tae-sung pulled up satellite images of the compound. It was massive. 20 acres. High walls. Guard towers. Thermal imaging showed at least 15 people inside. This is a suicide mission, Tae-sung said quietly. Then I die. Minjun zoomed in on the main building. But they get out first. Sir, if we bring our full force, no time. He's expecting that anyway. Minjun pointed to the eastern wall. Here, blind spot between camera coverage. We go in quiet. 3 men. In and out before they know we're there. And if it goes wrong? Minjun looked at him. It won't. But they both knew that was a lie. At 11 p.m., Minjun, Tae-sung, and one other operative crept through the jungle bordering the compound. The wall was 12 feet high, topped with razor wire. Minjun cut through it carefully, cloth wrapped around his hands to muffle any sound. They dropped into the compound grounds. Darkness everywhere, only a few lights in the main house. They moved like shadows toward the building. A guard appeared around the corner. Minjun took him down silently. A hand over the mouth, a knife to the kidney. The man dropped without a sound. Inside, the house was eerily quiet. Too quiet. Something was wrong. Minjun signaled to Tae-sung. Split up. They separated, clearing rooms methodically. Minjun found the stairs, descended into a basement. The air was colder here. Damp. At the end of a corridor, a steel door. Locked. He picked it in 15 seconds. The door swung open. Ji-hai was inside, still tied to a chair, mouth gagged, but alive. Her eyes went wide when she saw him. Minjun rushed forward, cutting her bonds. Where's Minho? She yanked off the gag. It's a trap. The lights went on. Kwon Jae-sung stepped into the room, flanked by armed men. Hello, nephew, he said, smiling. Right on time. Minjun moved to shield Ji-hai, but guns were already pointed at them from every angle. Easy, Jae-sung said, hands raised in mock peace. No need for violence, yet. Where is my son? Safe, for now. Jae-sung walked closer, studying Minjun like a specimen. You know, you look just like your father. Same eyes, same jaw, same stupid pride. Let them go. This is between us. No, this is between me and your father. You're just the messenger. Jae-sung circled him. Do you know what your father took from me? Everything. My position, my respect, my future. That was 30 years ago, and I've waited 30 years for this moment. He stopped, inches from Minjun's face. Your father thought money would keep me quiet, but money doesn't heal humiliation. What do you want? I already told you. $847 million, or your son dies. I can't get that much. Then he dies. Jae-sung shrugged. Simple. Please. Ji-hai spoke for the first time, her voice breaking. He's just a child. He has nothing to do with this. Neither did I, when your precious father-in-law destroyed my life. Jae-sung turned to her. But here we are. I'll get you the money, Minjun said quickly. Just give me more time. No. A week. 1 week. 72 hours was generous. Jae-sung checked his watch. You have 51 hours left. After that, I start sending pieces of the boy. Maybe a finger first, then an ear. Then, Minjun lunged. He didn't get 2 steps before guards slammed him to the ground. Guns pressed against his skull. Touching, Jae-sung observed. Your father would have negotiated. But you react. That's your weakness. He kicked Minjun in the ribs. Once. Twice. Ji-hai screamed. Stop! She cried. Please, just stop! Jae-sung paused, looking at her. You love him? Ji-hai hesitated. Answer me. Yes, she whispered. I love him. Even though he's a monster, a killer, a man built from blood, he's the father of my child. That's not what I asked. Ji-hai's eyes met Minjun's. Yes, I love him. Despite everything, something flickered across Jae-sung's face. Old pain. Old loss. I loved someone once, he said quietly. Your father killed her, made it look like an accident. But I knew. Silence. So you see, nephew, this isn't about money. It never was. He straightened his jacket. This is about making your father's bloodline feel what I felt. Loss, helplessness, grief. He walked to the door. You have 51 hours. Bring the money to the coordinates I'll send. Come alone. No police. No backup. He paused. Or the boy dies screaming. The guards dragged Minjun and Jihai out, threw them into a van, and drove them to the Malaysian border. They were dumped on the side of the road at dawn. Minjun's ribs screamed with pain. He could barely breathe. Jihai helped him stand. We need to get you to a hospital. No time. Minjun. He still has our son. Minjun spat blood. Everything else can wait. Taesung found them an hour later, looking shaken. Sir, I'm so sorry. I tried to. Where's our third man? Taesung's silence was answer enough. Dead? Yes, sir. Minjun nodded. Another body on his conscience. They returned to the Singapore safe house. Jihai cleaned Minjun's wounds while he made calls, moved money, called in every favor he'd ever earned. This is my fault, Jihai said quietly, wiping blood from his split lip. I should never have come back to Korea. Don't. If I'd stayed hidden, Minho would still be sick, and I'd never have known he existed. Minjun caught her hand. I'd rather die knowing he's real than live never knowing. Her eyes filled with tears. You can't die. He needs you. He needs his mother more. He needs both of us. Minjun pulled her close, pressing his forehead to hers. I'm going to fix this. How? I don't know yet, but I will. They stayed like that for a long moment. Two broken people holding each other in the wreckage of their choices. I meant what I said, Jihai whispered. In that room, I do love you. Even though I know what you are. I've always known. She pulled back, looking at him. But I also know what you could be, if you chose differently. After this is over, if we survive this. When we survive this, he corrected.
Before you continue, if this story touched something in you, you should know this is only the beginning. The complete version includes 30 full audio stories, more than 30 hours of uninterrupted listening. No ads, no cuts, no distractions. Scan the QR code on your screen, or tap the link in the pinned comment to continue listening right now.
I want to try. To be the man you thought I was. The one you loved before everything went wrong. That man never existed, Minjun. You can't become someone you never were. Then I'll become someone new. She touched his face gently. I'll believe it when I see it. His phone buzzed. New coordinates. And a countdown timer. 50:23:17. 50 hours. 23 minutes. 17 seconds. Get some rest, Minjun said, standing despite the pain. We'll need our strength. But neither of them slept. They couldn't. Not while Minho was out there, scared and alone, waiting for parents who might never come. 48 hours remained when the second video arrived. Minjun almost didn't open it. Almost. But he had to know Minho was still alive. The video showed the boy in a small room. He wasn't crying anymore, just sitting quietly, drawing with crayons someone had given him. The camera zoomed in on his drawing. A house. 3 stick figures. One tall, one medium, one small. A family. He asks about you. Jae-sung's voice came off camera. Both of you. Wants to know when you're coming to get him. The camera panned to show Jae-sung sitting across from Minho. I tell him soon, because I'm not cruel to children. He looked directly at the camera. But if you fail to deliver, nephew, I'll have to become cruel. And I don't want that. The video ended. Minjun stared at the screen, his chest tight. Ji-hai was beside him, tears streaming silently down her face. He drew us, she whispered. He drew us as a family. Something broke in Minjun. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet shattering of whatever was left of his heart. I have an idea, he said finally, but you're not going to like it. What? We give him what he wants. We give him me. Ji-hai's head snapped up. What? The money is a smokescreen. You heard him. This is about revenge, about making my father's bloodline suffer. Minjun stood, pacing despite his injuries. So I'll trade myself for Minho. That's insane. Is it? He wants to hurt me. Fine. Let him. As long as Minho and you are safe. Minjun, he'll kill you. Probably. He looked at her. But at least you'll both be alive. I don't accept that. You don't have a choice. Yes, I do. She stood, facing him. I spent 7 years running because I thought sacrificing our relationship would save our son. It didn't. It just made us all alone. I won't make that mistake again. This is different. No, it's not. Her voice rose. You think dying for us is noble? It's cowardice. The brave thing is staying alive, fighting, being there. And if I can't, if there's no way to save all of us, she grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. Then we find one, together. Before he could respond, Taesung burst in. Sir, we have a problem. Another one? Chen Weiling just sent a message. She says Jaesung isn't working alone. He has partners. Powerful ones. What kind of partners? The kind that could make even you disappear. Taesung handed over his tablet. Look, the screen showed financial records, transactions, shell companies, and one name that made Minjun's blood run cold. The Council. No, Jihai breathed. What's the Council? The group that actually runs things, Minjun said quietly. The real power behind every organization in Asia. Yakuza, triads, Korean mobs. We're all just their puppets. And your father was part of it, until he retired 5 years before he died. Minjun scrolled through the records. But if Jae-sung is working with them now, then this isn't just about revenge, Taesung finished. It's a power play. They want to remove you and take over your territory. The pieces clicked into place. The timing. The impossibly large debt. The public humiliation. This was a coup. If I pay, Minjun said slowly, I bankrupt myself. My organization collapses. The council moves in. And if you don't pay, they kill my son and blame me for failing to protect him. Either way, they win. Jihee sat down heavily. So what do we do? Minjun looked at the countdown. I was 8 and 43. Then at the records Taesung brought. Then at Jihai. And made a decision that would change everything. We go to war. Sir? Against the council. Against Jae-sung. Against all of them. Minjun's voice was steel. They want to play games with my son's life. Fine. Let's play. That's suicide, Taesung said. The council has resources we can't match. Then we don't fight fair. Minjun started making calls. Get me every rival organization that hates the council. Every independent operator. Every crew that wants to see them fall. That's dozens of groups. I don't care. Offer them anything. Territory, money, blood. Whatever they want. We're forming an alliance, sir. Even if they all agree. They will. Because the council has made enemies everywhere. And I'm offering them a chance for revenge. Over the next 12 hours, Minjun built an army. Small crews. Independent operators. Rival syndicates who'd been pushed out by the council's expansion. He promised them everything. Gave away territory he'd spent years securing. Offered alliances that would have made his father spin in his grave. He didn't care. None of it mattered without Minho. We have 43 groups committed, Taesung reported at hour 36. Maybe 300 fighters total. But sir, the council has thousands. We're not fighting thousands. We're fighting Jae-sung's compound. 30 men. Maybe 40. Minjun marked positions on a map. We hit hard, fast, and overwhelming. Rescue Minho before the council can mobilize. And after? After we disappear. Leave Asia. Start over somewhere they can't reach. You'd give up everything? Minjun looked at Jihai, who was listening quietly. For them? Yes. She met his eyes, and something passed between them. Understanding. Agreement. Hope. When do we move? Taesung asked. Minjun checked the countdown. 35:17:09. Tomorrow night, we'll have the money ready as a decoy. Make Jae-sung think I'm complying. While he's waiting for the transfer, we hit the compound. It's risky. Everything's risky. Minjun closed the laptop, but at least this way, we fight. End of Chapter 10. Chapter 11. The night before war. 24 hours before the deadline. The safe house was crowded with fighters. Rough men with rougher histories. They spoke different languages, followed different codes, but shared one thing, hatred for the council. Minjun briefed them on the plan. Assault teams, extraction routes, fallback positions. It was military precision applied to criminal warfare. We go in at 0200, he concluded. Radio silence until we're inside. Any questions? A scarred Chinese man raised his hand. What if the kid isn't there? Then we burn it down and hunt them wherever they run. And if he is there but the council shows up? We fight our way out. And if we can't? Minjun's eyes were cold. Then we die trying. The men nodded. They understood this language. After the briefing, Jihai found Minjun on the balcony. The Singapore skyline glittered peacefully, indifferent to the violence being planned. You should stay here tomorrow, he said without turning. With Taisung, where it's safe. No, he's my son too. She stood beside him. I'm going. You're a surgeon, not a soldier. And you think I'll stay behind while you risk your life for our child? She grabbed his hand. I've spent 7 years protecting him alone. Tomorrow we do it together. He wanted to argue, to lock her up if necessary. But he also understood. If their positions were reversed, nothing would stop him either. Stay behind me, he said finally. And if things go wrong, they won't. If they do, he insisted, you run. Take Minho and don't look back. Tae-sung will have papers ready, new identities, money, everything you need to disappear. What about you? I'll hold them off. Minjun, promise me. He turned to face her. Promise if it comes to that you'll save him, even if it means leaving me behind. Tears welled in her eyes. I can't promise that. You have to. Why? Because if I know you're safe, I can do what needs to be done without hesitation. He cupped her face. You're my strength, Jihai. You always have been. But you're also my weakness. And tomorrow I can't afford weakness. She pressed her forehead to his. I hate this. I know. I hate that violence is the only language you know. After tomorrow, I'll learn a new language. I promise. You keep making promises you might not be able to keep. Then I'll die trying. They stood there as the city lights flickered below. Two people who'd loved and lost and found each other again in the worst possible way. If we survive this, Jihai whispered, what happens next? We take Minho somewhere safe, somewhere far from this world. Where? Anywhere you want. New Zealand, Canada, some small town where no one knows our names. And you'd really leave? Walk away from everything? Minjun looked at her, truly looked at her, at the woman who'd given up everything to protect their son, who'd built a new life from nothing, who'd loved him despite every reason not to. I'd burn it all down for one more day with you, he said softly. The empire, the power, all of it. It's ash, compared to you. She kissed him, not desperate or passionate, just soft and lingering. A kiss that tasted like goodbye and hope in equal measure. When they pulled apart, she smiled sadly. That's the man I fell in love with. He's been here all along. Just buried under too much blood. Then let's dig him out. They went inside. Tomorrow would bring violence, death, possible destruction. But tonight, for a few precious hours, they were just two people who loved each other. And that had to be enough. 200 hours. The jungle outside Johor Bahru was thick with humidity and danger. Minjun's assault force, 300 strong, moved through the darkness like a silent tide. No lights, no radio chatter, just controlled breathing and the rustle of leaves beneath tactical boots. The air smelled of wet earth and gun oil. Minjun had positioned teams at every exit. Snipers on the perimeter with thermal scopes. Breaching crews at 3 entry points, each armed with enough explosives to level a building. This had to be perfect. Surgical. One mistake, and Minho died. He'd run the operation in his mind 1,000 times during the flight from Singapore. Every variable, every possible outcome, every way it could go catastrophically wrong. He looked at Jihai crouched beside him in the darkness. She wore tactical gear that Tae-sung had provided. Black cargo pants, Kevlar vest over a dark shirt, communications earpiece. The gear was too large for her frame, but her eyes held unwavering determination. Her hands clutched a radio, knuckles pale in the moonlight. Last chance to stay back with the support team, he whispered, knowing what she'd say but needing to offer anyway. Not a chance. Her voice was steel wrapped in silk. He's my son. I'm going in. Minjun nodded. He'd expected nothing less. Reached over and squeezed her hand once. A brief touch that said everything words couldn't. Then he activated his radio. All teams, 30 seconds. Weapons hot. Rules of engagement. Anyone armed is hostile. Minimize casualties but prioritize the objective. We're going in for one person. Everyone else is expendable. The countdown began. 30, 29, 28. Minjun checked his weapon. Glock 19, full magazine. One in the chamber. 2 backup mags on his belt. Knife strapped to his ankle. It wouldn't be enough if this went wrong. It never was. 20, 19, 18. Around them, 300 fighters prepared. Chinese triads checking magazines. Japanese yakuza tightening grips on katanas, because some traditions died hard. Korean crew members testing radio frequencies. Malaysian independents applying camouflage paint. An army united by hatred for the council. An alliance that would crumble the moment this was over. But for now, for this moment, they were brothers. 10, 9, 8. Minjun's heart hammered against his ribs. Not from fear, from anticipation, from rage held back for 7 years, finally given permission to break free. 5, 4, 3. He looked at Ji-hai one last time. She met his gaze. In her eyes he saw fear, yes, but also love, trust, faith that somehow, against all odds, they'd survive this. 2, 1. Execute. The world exploded into fire and chaos. Shaped charges detonated simultaneously at 3 points along the compound wall. The explosions lit up the jungle like daylight for 2 seconds, brilliant orange and white, before plunging everything back into darkness now filled with smoke and screaming. Breach teams poured through the gaps. Gunfire erupted instantly. Staccato bursts of automatic weapons fire, the deeper boom of shotguns, shouts in multiple languages. Minjun ran through the smoke, Ji-hai right behind him, Tae-sung and 4 hand-picked men surrounding them in a protective formation. The compound's main courtyard was pure chaos. Guards, scrambling from barracks, half-dressed and confused. His assault teams cutting them down with brutal efficiency. Bodies dropped. Blood sprayed across manicured grass. A fountain in the courtyard center ran red. "Contact right," Tae-sung shouted, pivoting and firing 3 rounds. A guard spun and fell. Minjun didn't slow down. Couldn't. Every second counted. He reached the main house, a sprawling colonial-style mansion that looked obscenely peaceful despite the war raging in its yard. The front door was already blown open, hanging from one hinge. Inside was darker, quieter, but no less dangerous. His point man entered first, sweeping with his rifle. Clear. They moved in. "Minho!" Ji-hai screamed over the distant gunfire. "Minho, baby, where are you?" No answer. Just the echo of her voice in empty halls. They cleared rooms frantically. Living room. Empty except for expensive furniture. Kitchen. Spotless. Nobody there. Study. Empty. Bedroom after bedroom. Nothing. Where was he? Where was... "Sir," one of his men called from a hallway. "Basement access." Minjun ran. Found the stairs descending into darkness. Pulled a flashlight from his belt and descended 3 steps at a time. Ji-hai right behind him, her breathing ragged with fear and exertion. The basement was concrete and cold. At the far end, a steel door stood open. Not kicked in, not blown. Just open. Waiting. Every instinct Minjun had screamed trap. But he went anyway. Inside, the room was empty. Completely empty. Just concrete walls. A single light bulb hanging from the ceiling and a chair in the center. On the chair, a phone. Ringing. Minjun's blood turned to ice. He knew. Before he even answered, he knew. He picked up the phone. "Looking for something?" Kwon Jae-sung's voice was amused, almost playful. "Did you really think I'd keep the boy here? Where you could actually find him? Where your little army could rescue him?" Minjun closed his eyes. "Where is he?" "Close. Very close. But you'll never reach him in time." Jae-sung laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Check your other phone. The coordinates I sent 12 hours ago. That's where the exchange is. That's where your son is waiting. And you brilliant, stupid nephew, you just used all your resources, all your leverage, all your allies attacking an empty compound. Well played. Your father would be so proud of such tactical stupidity." The line went dead. Minjun stood frozen for 2 seconds, then pulled out his second phone with trembling hands, scrolled to the message from 12 hours ago, the one he dismissed as a decoy while planning the assault. Marina Bay Sands, Singapore, rooftop helipad. Be there in 1 hour with full payment. Come alone. The timestamp glowed accusingly, sent while Minjun was mobilizing his assault force, while he was so sure he'd outsmarted his uncle. No, he breathed. No, no, no. What? Ji-hai grabbed his arm, her voice rising in panic. Minjun, what is it? Where is he? He played us. Minho was never here. Minjun was already running, taking the stairs 3 at a time. He's in Singapore, at Marina Bay, and we're over an hour away even by helicopter. They burst out of the house back into the courtyard. The battle was winding down. Most of Jae-sung's guards were dead or surrendered, his allied forces securing the perimeter. But it was all meaningless. All wasted. Tae-sung! Minjun shouted. Nearest helicopter now. Sir, we have 3 on standby 2 kilometers. Not good enough. Requisition anything. Military, police. I don't care. Get us airborne in 5 minutes or Minho dies. Tae-sung didn't argue, just ran, already shouting orders into his radio. 4 minutes later, Minjun and Ji-hai were strapped into a civilian helicopter that Tae-sung had borrowed from a nearby luxury resort by pointing guns at the pilot and offering enough cash to buy 10 helicopters. Marina Bay Sands, fastest route, don't stop for anything, Minjun ordered the terrified pilot. Sir, that's Singaporean airspace, we'll need clearances. Minjun pressed his gun against the man's head. I said fly. The helicopter lifted off. Ji-hee was beside him, her face pale, hands shaking as she checked her phone. How long do we have? Minjun looked at the original deadline countdown on his screen. 0047:33. 47 minutes. Can we make it? The pilot spoke up, voice trembling. Not legally. Airspace restrictions, flight paths. We're looking at 70 minutes minimum. Then fly illegally, Minjun said coldly. Straight line, maximum speed. I'll handle any consequences. Sir, we could be shot down. Then fly low enough to avoid radar. Minjun leaned forward. My son is dying. Get us there or I throw you out and fly this myself. The pilot swallowed hard, pushed the controls forward. The helicopter dropped and accelerated, skimming treetops. Then water as they crossed into the Strait of Johor. Warning alarms beeped. They were going too fast, flying too low, violating every safety protocol. Minjun didn't care. 0:38:42. Ji-hai was crying silently, her hand gripping Minjun's so tight it hurt. What if we don't make it? What if we'll make it? You don't know that. I refuse any other option. He looked at her, and his voice softened. I didn't find you again after 7 years just to lose our son. I didn't survive everything we've been through to fail now. We're making it, Ji-hai, because the alternative is unthinkable. She leaned against him, her tears soaking into his tactical vest. 31:15. The Singapore skyline appeared on the horizon, the iconic Marina Bay Sands Hotel, with its 3 towers and rooftop infinity pool, visible even in the darkness, lit up like a beacon. There, Ji-hai pointed. The helipad on the roof. I see it, the pilot said. But sir, we're entering controlled airspace. They're going to scramble jets. Let them. Minjun was already preparing to jump the moment they landed. Just get us down. 00:27:03. The helicopter angled toward Marina Bay Sands. Air traffic control was screaming over the radio, demanding identification, threatening military intervention. Minjun switched it off. 00:23:47. The rooftop helipad grew larger. Minjun could see figures now. One tall, one small. His heart clenched. 00:21:30. 30 seconds to landing, the pilot announced. Minjun unbuckled. So did Ji-hai. They crouched by the door, ready to jump before the skids even touched down. 00:20:15. The helicopter descended. Wind from the rotors whipped across the rooftop. The figures became clear. Kwon Jae-sung stood calmly in an expensive suit, looking like he was attending a business meeting rather than a hostage exchange. His silver hair was perfectly styled. His expression was serene. and holding his hand, looking tiny and terrified, was Minho. The boy wore the same blue jacket from the park. His face was tear-stained, but he wasn't crying now, just staring at the approaching helicopter with wide, hopeful eyes. 1932. The helicopter's skids touched the helipad. Before it fully settled, Minjun kicked the door open and jumped out, Ji-hai right behind him. "Minho!" Ji-hee screamed, her voice breaking. The boy's face transformed. "Mommy! Daddy!" That word, Daddy, hit Minjun like a physical blow. His son was calling him Daddy. He started forward, but Jae-sung raised a hand. "Close enough." His voice was calm, but loud enough to carry over the helicopter noise. The pilot, smart man, immediately killed the engine. Rotors began to slow. "That's quite close enough." Minjun stopped 20 feet away, put his hands up slowly. "I'm here, like you asked, but not alone. I'm disappointed, nephew." "Let him go," Minjun said, keeping his voice level despite the rage and fear tearing through him. "Please, he's just a child. He has nothing to do with this. Doesn't he? He's your blood, your father's blood, the blood that destroyed everything I had." Jae-sung looked down at Minho almost tenderly. "He's actually quite sweet, polite, asked about his mother constantly." "I want my mommy," Minho said quietly, his small voice breaking. "I know, child. Soon." Jae-sung looked back up. "Do you have my money?" "No." The word fell like a stone. Jae-sung sighed. "Then we have a problem. Let him go and I'll get it. Whatever you want. I'll liquidate everything. You had 72 hours. You chose to spend those hours attacking an empty compound instead of gathering funds. That speaks to your priorities." Jae-sung pulled out a gun. Sleek, black, professional. "And your priorities killed your son." "No!" Ji-hee lurched forward, but Minjun caught her. "Wait," Minjun said desperately. "Please, I'll give you anything. Everything, just let him go." "Everything?" Jae-sung laughed bitterly. "You have nothing left. No organization after tonight's assault revealed all your alliances. No money after bribing half of Southeast Asia to help you. No power. You're finished, Minjun. Dead man walking. Then why kill an innocent child? What does that prove?" "It proves that actions have consequences." Jae-sung's calm cracked. "Your father took everything from me. My position, my future, the woman I loved. He took her, and he killed her, and he made it look like an accident." His hand shook as he pointed the gun. "I spent 30 years in exile, 30 years planning revenge, waiting for the perfect moment, and then your father died before I could make him suffer." His eyes were wet now, so I settled for the next best thing, making his precious son feel exactly what I felt. Loss, helplessness, the knowledge that you failed to protect what you loved most. He cocked the gun and pressed it against Minho's head. The boy whimpered. "Daddy." Time stopped. Minjun saw everything with crystal clarity. Jae-sung's finger tightening on the trigger. Ji-hai screaming and starting to run forward. Minho's terrified face. The Singapore skyline glittering behind them. Beautiful and indifferent. And Minjun made a choice. He charged. Not toward Jae-sung, toward Minho. The gun fired. The bullet hit Minjun in the left shoulder. A punch of fire and force that spun him halfway around. But momentum carried him forward. He grabbed Minho, ripped the boy from Jae-sung's grip, turned his body to shield his son, and fell. They hit the rooftop hard. Minjun felt his ribs crack, felt blood spreading hot across his chest. But Minho was beneath him, protected, alive. More gunshots, screaming, chaos. Minjun couldn't see, could barely breathe, just held his son and waited for the next bullet. It didn't come. Instead, silence. Then Ji-hee's voice. "Minjun. Oh God, Minjun." He opened his eyes. The sky above was dark, stars hidden by city light pollution. His shoulder was on fire. Everything hurt, but he was alive. He rolled off Minho carefully. The boy was crying but unhurt. Ji-hai scooped him up, sobbing, checking him for injuries, pressing kisses to his face. "I'm okay, Mommy," Minho said through tears. "Daddy saved me. He saved me." Minjun tried to sit up, failed, managed to prop himself on his good arm, looked around. Kwon Jae-sung was on the ground 15 feet away, not moving, blood pooling beneath him, dark in the rooftop lighting. His gun had fallen from his hand. Beyond him, at the edge of the helipad, Tae-sung stood with a sniper rifle still aimed. I had backup, Min-jun said, tasting blood. Just in case. Jae-sung's chest hitched, still alive, barely. His eyes found Min-jun. Smart. Blood bubbled from his lips. Like your father. I'm nothing like my father, Min-jun said firmly. He chose power over people. I choose differently. Do you? Jae-sung coughed weakly. You still built your life on blood. I did. But I'm changing that. Starting now. You can't. Change. Jae-sung's eyes were fading. Men like us. We're monsters. Forever. No. Min-jun looked at Ji-hee holding Min-ho. We're only monsters if we choose to be. Every day is a new choice. Jae-sung smiled slightly. Idealistic. Fool. His chest stopped moving. His eyes went empty. Kwon Jae-sung, the ghost who'd haunted the Seo family for 30 years, was finally dead. Ji-hye rushed over, Min-ho in her arms. Don't move. Let me see. She set Min-ho down gently, then examined Min-jun's shoulder with practiced medical efficiency despite her shaking hands. The bullet went through. You're lucky it missed the artery, but you're losing blood fast. I need to... Mom, is Daddy going to die? Min-ho asked, his voice small and scared. Ji-hye looked at her son, then at Min-jun. No, baby. Daddy's going to be fine. He's too stubborn to die. She pressed her hands against the wound, applying pressure. Min-jun winced, but didn't cry out. Tae-sung, Min-jun called. Status? His right-hand man jogged over. Perimeter is clear. No sign of the council yet, but they'll be here soon. We need to move. Then let's... The sound of helicopter rotors filled the air again. Multiple helicopters. Damn it! Tae-sung cursed, raising his rifle. 3 helicopters appeared from different directions. Military grade. Armed. They circled the rooftop like sharks. Ji-hye pulled Min-ho close, her body shielding him. Min-jun tried to stand. Failed. Managed to get to his knees at least. Tae-sung positioned himself in front of them all. The helicopters landed. Doors opened. Armed men in tactical gear poured out. But the first person to step out wasn't wearing tactical gear. He wore an expensive 3-piece suit. Silver white hair perfectly styled. Cold, calculating eyes behind rimless glasses. He walked with the confidence of someone who owned everything around him. Min-jun recognized him immediately. Chairman Zhao Weilong, head of the council's Singapore division. One of the most powerful men in Southeast Asian organized crime. SEO Min-jun, Zhao said, his accent refined, British educated. You've caused quite a commotion tonight. Unauthorized military action, illegal border crossing, airspace violations. Quite the international incident. If you've come to finish this, Min-jun started. Finish it? Zhao laughed, a cultured sound. My dear boy, I've come to congratulate you. Min-jun blinked. What? You just accomplished something remarkable. In 72 hours, you formed an alliance of 43 independent crews from 5 countries. You orchestrated a military-style assault that would make generals jealous. You survived a direct confrontation with Jae-sung, a man who had 3 decades to plan your destruction. Zhao smiled genuinely. The council is deeply impressed. I don't care what the council thinks. You should, because we're here to make you an offer. Silence stretched across the rooftop. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. What kind of offer? Ji-hye asked suspiciously. The kind that changes everything. Zhao walked closer, hands clasped behind his back. Your father retired from the council 5 years before his death, left a vacant seat. We've been looking for his replacement. Someone young, aggressive, innovative, someone who understands the value of family. He gestured to Min-ho, who was peeking out from behind Ji-hye. Someone who would do absolutely anything to protect what matters most. The implication hung heavy. You want me to join the council, Min-jun said slowly. We're offering you a seat at the table. Full membership. Protection for your organization. Guaranteed safety for your family. Access to resources beyond anything you've ever imagined. Zhao spread his hands. We're offering you the world, Min-jun. At what cost? Your independence, of course. You'd answer to the council, follow our directives, participate in our ventures. Zhao smiled. But in return, you become untouchable. No rival would dare move against you. No government could touch you. You'd have true power. No, Jihai said immediately. Absolutely not. The lady has spirit, Zhao observed. But perhaps she doesn't understand the alternative, which is, we take everything. Your remaining territory, your assets, your organization is absorbed or destroyed. His smile vanished. You die. Eventually. Probably painfully. And my family? Your family lives. We're not monsters, Minjun. We don't kill children or uninvolved civilians. They'd be allowed to disappear. New identities. Fresh start. He paused. But without you. Forever. Jihee's arms tightened around Minho. So, you see, the choice is simple, Zhao continued. Join us and keep your family. Keep your power. Build a legacy your son can inherit. Or refuse, and lose everything except the knowledge that they're alive somewhere without you. Minjun looked at Jihee. She was crying silently, shaking her head. He looked at Minho, who was watching him with those innocent eyes that looked so much like his own. He looked at Tai Sung, who stood ready to fight even though it was hopeless. How long do I have to decide? Right now. This moment. The offer expires when I walk back to that helicopter. That's the reality of power, Minjun. Decisions are made in seconds. Hesitation is weakness. Zhao checked his watch. You have 30 seconds. Minjun closed his eyes. Pain from his shoulder throbbed through his body. Blood loss was making him dizzy, but his mind was crystal clear. He saw his father, the empire built on blood, the choices that led here. He saw Jihai, 7 years of separation, 7 years of pain, the woman who loved him despite everything. He saw Minho, innocent, pure, the future unburdened by the past. 20 seconds, Zhao announced. Minjun, please, Jihai whispered. We can run. We can hide. We've done it before. I'm tired of running, he said softly. Aren't you? Not if it means keeping you. And what kind of life is that? Always looking over our shoulders? Moving every year? Minho never having friends or stability? It's better than losing you. 15 seconds, Zhao said. Minjun opened his eyes, looked at Zhao. I have conditions. Conditions? Zhao raised an eyebrow. You're in no position. If I join, my family is completely untouchable. Not just protected, removed from this world entirely. New identities that not even the council knows. They're civilians. Forever. No matter what. Agreed. And I want out in 10 years. Clean exit. No retaliation. My organization passes to someone of my choosing, and I walk away. 5 years. Non-negotiable. 7. Zhao considered. 6 years. Final offer. And one more thing. Minjun straightened despite the pain. During those 6 years, I work for the council. Yes. But I also work to change it. To move away from the worst excesses. No human trafficking. No child exploitation. We transition to purely financial and political operations. Zhao actually laughed. You want to reform the council from within? How naive. That's my condition. Take it or leave it. 5 seconds, Zhao said. And I don't accept that last condition. You join the council as it is, or not at all. Minjun looked at Jihai. She was crying openly now, shaking her head. Looked at Minho, his son, his innocent, beautiful son. Time's up. What's your answer, Minjun? Minjun took a breath and said, No. The word fell like thunder. Zhao blinked, genuinely surprised. Excuse me? No, I don't accept. Minjun met his eyes. You're right. I can't change the council. It is what it is, and I won't be part of it. Not anymore. Not ever again. Then you die. Maybe. Probably. Minjun managed to stand, using Tae-sung for support. But I'll die free, and my son will grow up knowing his father chose integrity over power. Zhao's expression hardened. You're making a mistake. The biggest one of my life, but it's my mistake to make. Zhao gestured to his men. They raised weapons. This was it. The end. Minjun pulled Jihee and Minho close. If they were going to die, they'd die together. Wait. A new voice. Everyone turned. A fourth helicopter had landed without anyone noticing. From it stepped a woman in her 60s, elegant in traditional Chinese dress, white hair pulled back, face lined with wisdom and authority. Minjun's blood froze. Madame Chen Lina, the chairwoman, head of the entire council. Zhao immediately bowed. Madame Chen, I didn't expect. Clearly. She walked past him dismissively, stopped in front of Minjun, studied him with ancient, knowing eyes. You refused, she stated. Yes, madame. Knowing it meant death. Yes. Why? Minjun gestured to Minho. Because I want my son to be better than me, and he can't be if I keep choosing the wrong path. Madame Chen smiled slightly. Your father was a good man who became corrupted. You are a corrupted man trying to become good. Which is more admirable, I wonder? She turned to Zhao. Lower your weapons. But, madame, lower them. The weapons lowered. Madame Chen looked back at Minjun. I'm going to do something I rarely do. I'm going to let you walk away. Hope flared. Your organization is dissolved. Your assets are seized. You leave Asia and never return. You and your family disappear completely. New identities. New lives. The council forgets you exist. She leaned closer. But if you ever return to this world, if you ever touch organized crime again, the deal is void. And we kill everyone you love, clear? Crystal clear, madame. Good. She stepped back. Mr. Taesung. Taesung stepped forward. Madame, you're now head of what remains of the CO organization. Congratulations. Taesung bowed deeply. Madame Chen looked at Minjun one last time. Your father would be disappointed in you, walking away from power. I know. But perhaps, she smiled, perhaps he'd also be proud. In the end. She turned and walked back to her helicopter. Zhao followed, looking frustrated but obedient. Within minutes, all the helicopters lifted off. The rooftop was empty, except for Minjun, Jihai, Minho, and Taesung. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Then Minho tugged Minjun's hand. Daddy, can we go home now? Minjun knelt down despite the pain in his shoulder, looked at his son. We don't have a home anymore, buddy, but we're going to build a new one. Together. Would you like that? Will there be a yard? For soccer? The biggest yard you've ever seen. And will you play with me? Minjun felt tears sting his eyes. Every single day, I promise. Minho hugged him. Jihai joined them. The three of them held each other as Singapore's lights glittered around them. Taesung cleared his throat. Sir, Minjun, I have papers ready. Canadian citizenship for all three of you. A house in British Columbia. Bank accounts. Everything you need to start over. You planned this? I hoped for it. Taesung bowed. It's been an honor serving you. The honor was mine, old friend. They shook hands. Then Taesung left, disappearing into the stairwell. Minjun looked at Jihee. So, Canada? She laughed through tears. Canada sounds perfect. 6 months later, Vancouver Island, British Columbia. The house sat on 2 acres of forest, overlooking the ocean. Small.
If you stayed until the end, it's because this story stayed with you. What you heard here is just a fragment. The full experience lives in 30 complete audio stories, carefully told with every emotion, every secret, and every moment that couldn't be shared on YouTube. There are no ads, no interruptions, and you can listen anytime, anywhere, in total privacy. Scan the QR code on your screen now, or tap the link in the pinned comment, and discover what was never said.
Modest. Nothing like the penthouse Minjun had owned in Seoul. It was perfect. Minjun stood in the yard, watching Minho kick a soccer ball around. The boy's health had improved dramatically after his surgery. He ran without getting tired now, laughed freely. Jihai emerged from the house with lemonade. She wore jeans and a simple sweater. No makeup, hair in a messy bun. She'd never looked more beautiful. He's getting good, she observed, watching Minho. He got that from you. The athletic ability. The stubbornness is definitely from you, though. Minjun laughed. It felt strange. He couldn't remember the last time he'd laughed without darkness behind it. I got accepted, Jihai said. What? To the hospital. Vancouver General. They need cardiovascular surgeons. I start next month. That's amazing. He pulled her close. Dr. Kang rides again. Actually, she showed him a paper. I'm using my real name now. Dr. Choi Jihai. No more hiding. Minjun stared at the document. Her real name. her real identity. And you? She asked. Have you decided what you want to do? He'd been thinking about it. He had the skills, organization, strategy, leadership, but not for crime anymore. I'm thinking, consulting, business strategy, helping legitimate companies with negotiations, using your dark powers for good, something like that. Minho ran over. Daddy, Mommy, watch this. He kicked the ball in a perfect arc. It sailed over their heads into the goal Minjun had set up. Cool! Minho shouted, throwing his arms up. They cheered, applauded. Minho beamed. Later, after Minho was asleep, Minjun and Jihai sat on the porch watching stars emerge. Real stars, visible without light pollution for the first time in Minjun's life. Do you regret it? Jihai asked quietly. Walking away from everything? No, not even a little. You gave up an empire. I traded an empire for a family. Best deal I ever made. She leaned against him. I love you. You know that, right? I know. I love you too. Do you think we're safe? Really safe? The council keeps its word. As long as we stay away from that world, we're fine. And can you? Stay away? Minjun thought about it. The rush of power, the thrill of control, the dark satisfaction of bending the world to his will. Then he thought about Minho's laugh, Jihee's smile, the quiet peace of this life. Yes, he said firmly. I can, because I finally understand what my father never did. Real power isn't controlling others. It's controlling yourself. Very philosophical. I'm a changed man. Prove it. He stood, extended his hand. Dance with me. There's no music. We don't need music. She took his hand. They swayed together under the stars. No music except the ocean and the forest and their own breathing. Two people who'd found each other, lost each other, found each other again. Two people who'd survived hell to reach something like heaven. Daddy? Minho's voice came from the doorway. He was in his pajamas holding his stuffed bear. I can't sleep. Come here, buddy. Minho ran over. Minjun picked him up. His shoulder was fully healed now. The boy wrapped his arms around both parents. Can you tell me a story? What kind of story? A happy one, with a good ending. Minjun looked at Jihai. She smiled. I have the perfect story, he said. It's about a man who was lost for a long time. He made a lot of mistakes, hurt a lot of people, but then he met a brilliant doctor and a brave little boy, and they showed him that it's never too late to change. That family is stronger than power. That love is worth any sacrifice. Does it have a happy ending? Minjun looked around, at the house they'd built, the life they'd created, the future stretching before them, clean and bright. The happiest ending, he said, because they all lived happily ever after. Minho smiled. I like that story. Me too, buddy. Me too. They went inside together. A family, whole, safe, free. The ghosts were finally laid to rest. The debts were finally paid. And for the first time in his life, Seo Minjun, now just Michael Park, consultant and father, was truly, completely happy. The end. Sometimes the bravest thing a man can do is walk away from power. Sometimes the greatest love is choosing family over empire. Sometimes the happiest ending is the simplest one. Thank you for reading. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to believe that change is possible, that redemption is real, that love conquers all. Subscribe for more stories that break your heart and put it back together.